Hey guys, welcome back to Video Games Awesome Live. I'm playing some Hearthstone. The Plague Quarter has opened up, meaning that there's a fresh new batch of cards. How many cards? Like 10 new cards available in Arena? Or 5? I don't know. 6. Alright. Let me look at my challenges to decide what class I'm gonna be playing. Paladin or Warrior, Hunter or Mage. So I could go with Mage or I could go with Warrior right now. Let's go with Mage. I haven't played Mage on the show in a long time, and it's the safe choice, the safest choice in Arena.
You asked for it.
And I haven't had a lot of good luck so far playing Arena on this show. If you follow my Frash Plays, at Frash Plays Twitter, you'll see that right after that show in which I went 0-3 and then 1-3 or 2, did I go 3-3? Anyways, I did bad. It wasn't as good, nowhere near what I expect to be able to go. I immediately followed it with an Arena run of 11 or 10 wins, and then right after that followed it with another Arena run of 7 wins. It's not you guys. You're not the bad luck. The fact is, I don't play well on the show. My mind is on too many things at once. So, despite Alermo Bot being the MVP of the entire Naxxramas run that I've been doing, Emperor Cobra being a pretty solid pick, but you just don't turn down an Azure Drake. You know, sometimes you might turn down Azure Drake. It really depends on what's in the pack. Elven Archer is nice utility, especially since when you're playing Mage, it can help you get rid of a guy with 2 toughness in the same turn. I've always felt Stormpike Commando was far too high up cost. He's a little bit more valuable, ironically, I think, when you're not being a Mage, because Mage doesn't lack the direct damage. Corehound has a nice body if he costs less, but he doesn't. He's a little bit too weak at 7 casting cost. I'm going with the Archer here. Haunted Creeper, I have been playing with outside of the show, and he is awesome. Haunted Creeper is really good. He's a really solid card. When I first saw him, I thought he'd be like, he could be, average, or, like, I didn't think he'd be much more than average, but he's actually really good. He's annoying. You know how I said, guys, that I value cards on my my annoyance when they're played against me? I am annoyed as hell when a Haunted Creeper is played against me. However, even though he's good, the Boulder Fist Ogre is much better in Arena. He's just, his card value for 6 mana he's really tough to get rid of. So I'm going with him, but I pick him over a lot of things nowadays. Creeper's not just good for early board control, the Creeper's good for just general annoyingness. Those extra, like, 1 little pings of damage can be really annoying. So, even though Stormwind Champion is a really solid drop at the top of the curve, Frostbolt, direct damage, the utility is, I can't turn that down. Hopefully I'll see another Stormwind or something like that. Second Frostbolt, give me, the more the better. I'm a huge fan of Spellbreaker. I love the utility built into a body that's only slightly weaker than it should be at that stage, at the 4-drop. Okay, so now I'm trying to think of, like, how helpful would Fen Creeper be based on what I've drawn. I'm not a huge fan of Flesh Eating Ghoul. I find it, your deck really has to be honed into the benefits of Flesh Eating Ghoul for him to be as valuable as he can be sometimes. And in Arena, usually that requires a lot of luck to make a deck that gets his full value. Whereas Fen Creeper has value built in. He's the whole kit and caboodle in one go. Ice Lance, even though I've already got 2 Frost Bolts and this can really put that over the edge, I'm not, nah, I'm gonna go with the Fen Creeper. So Cone of Cold even puts up the Ice Lance value even higher if I grab this, and I think I'm going to. Yeah, I'm gonna grab the Cone of Cold here. Water Elemental continues to raise the value of that Ice Bolt that I almost wish that I had picked over the Fen Creeper now. Delaran Mage ups my spell damage, could make my Frost Bolts a little bit better, but he's a little bit pricey. 3 mana. By the time you get him moving. Water Elemental or Tauren Warrior. Tauren Warrior is pretty much the only really pickable when you're playing Mage. Well, no, he's pickable if it's in a pack of stuff that's no good, too. But Tauren Warrior, I usually don't even really look at unless I'm desperate. But in a Mage deck, he's a little bit more valuable, just because you can ping him. I like the Water Elemental here. Value built in. I like both the Blizzard and the Stampeding Kodo. I tend towards the Blizzard on this one. I find that board clearance is just very, very valuable in Arena. So the Spiteful Smith has, even when you're not playing weapons, it is true that you should actually sometimes consider him, because the body isn't bad. Even if his ability is moot when you're not playing somebody who wields weapons. Trying to decide if I'm curving too high to pick him or not. The Wace's Snapjaw doesn't do me nearly as much good as the Spiteful Smith does, but curve-wise, what do I want? 1, 2, 3, 4 drops. Curving a little bit high. Feel like I kind of need the turtle just because of my curve. I'm almost certain in the next 20 picks to get more stuff in the 5-drop slot that's going to be valuable to me. And the Wisp is obviously, yeah, I don't have anything in the 0-drop slot yet. I should actually consider that, huh? I'm going to go with the Snapjaw. Curve-wise, I like him better. Ice Lance. Do I want the Ice Lance over the Fairy Dragon? The Ice Lance that goes well with my Blizzard, my 2 Frost Bolts, and my Cone of Cold. It could be that thorn in the side that ends up taking down guys bigger than I should ever be able to take out. Arcane Intellect gives me late game card draw, a little bit of card advantage in the late game. Meanwhile, Fairy Dragon is an amazing 2-drop. Amazing 2-drop. One of my favorites. I'm going to go with the Dragon. Hoping for more card draw as I go along. Dragons, I just feel like they're so, when you want them, like, you know, they never come late pick, whereas I feel like I always, isn't the Arcane Intellect common, or I mean basic? So isn't it more likely to pop back up again? So I have a real hole in the 3-drop slot. The Mirror Image can really buy you time, especially when you have Mana Worms. I have 18 more picks to pick up a couple Mana Worms. Completely possible. But it's also possible I won't see any Mana Worms for the next 18 picks. Iron for a Grizzly isn't great. Isn't bad either. Frostwolf Grunt is just not even something you want to look at. He's too weak. Dies to 2 3s that drop on turn 2. So if Arcane Intellect is basic, does that make it more likely to come up in the packs than a common card, or is it just as likely as a common card to show up? So I'm just looking at what I might want to protect with these mirror images in the game, and I don't have anything. Like, my strategy doesn't curve that way right now. But I think they're more valuable than the Iron for a Grizzly. They really can buy you a lot of time, considering that 2 of them come out. I'm going to grab that. I hope I get some mana worms to synergize with all these spells. Ice Barrier is not a great secret. I think the best card here is Jungle Panther. And I need something in the 3-drop slot. So, Sun Shattered Cleric fits well into my curve right now. Silverhand Knight is a very high value 5-drop card, like I was saying. That's kind of why I didn't choose whatever his name is earlier. I like Loot Hoarder. I like that he can just be like, you know, the worst case scenario, he's a trading 2 mana for 2 mana. And in best case scenario, he's a card advantage. But I don't love him over these 2. I think these 2 have higher value. Based on the fact that I have Fairy Dragon and Jungle Panther in here already, which are just beautiful targets for the Shattered Sun Cleric, I feel like the Sun Cleric might be a better choice over the Silverhand Knight for that reason right now. But Silverhand Knight is one of the best 5-mana drops. Yeah, the Knight comes with the 2/2. Yeah, I'll go with the Knight. The curve begs for that Cleric, though. Ooh, ouch. What do I choose here? I love Arcane Missiles. I really came around on Arcane Missile as I played more Hearthstone and realized how valuable it can be early game. But Cone of Cold. 2 Cone of Colds. With a second Cone of Cold, I could really hone my strategy towards late game, like late game plays, which I've already got a little bit going on. I'm gonna go with Cone of Cold. I love it. I just really love casting it. It makes me happy when I cast it. It feels good. I think that Arcane was actually the better choice, but Girabushi Berserker is amazing with Mage, so I'm going with him. The fact that you can ping him once, ping him twice, the fact that he's safe almost always for at least 1 turn. I have a lot of spells, so this Mana Addict could actually be better. This is a bad pack. For a rare pack, this is terrible. The Pyromancer could give me a little bit of value, could help my Frostbolts take down stuff that I wouldn't otherwise be able to take out. Could also help my Cone of Cold be more powerful. I think I'm going to go with the Mana Addict just because I've never ever played with the Mana Addict. And I'd like to see how it plays. Arcane Explosion isn't amazing. Acidic Swamp Ooze is incredible in Arena. You need Acidic Swamp Ooze. You pick Acidic Swamp Ooze over almost anything that you might open with it. I have no secrets yet, unfortunately. I have nothing that can silence things, so it's an automatic out. Almost always is. Mind Control Tech or Tor Mage. I have 10 more picks after this. The likelihood that I'm going to pick up a ton of secrets isn't huge, but the 4/3 body on a 3/3 for 3 mana is better than the Mind Control Tech. And I've got a lot of creature removal, meaning that I probably won't often see the benefit of the Mind Control Tech, Because I've got like the Cone of Cold, Frost Bolts. But boy, does he's beautiful when he does work. I'll go with him. If I'd picked like 1, 2 secrets, or even 1, I might have gone with the mage instead, with 10 picks left. I hope I don't see 2 amazing secrets as I go along here now, or I'm going to regret that. Ah, she'll do nicely in this deck with those frost bolts. And another frost bolt. Almost want that fairy dragon, but got so much beauty. Oh my god. I don't think, do I need a 4th? No, I'm lacking in my late game now. Oh, it'd be so nice to have a 4th frost bolt. I love having frost bolts in it. Like, because you have to think about the fact that with a mage, frost bolts aren't just 4 damage, or aren't just 3 damage. They're 4 damage. It's like you have a choice between 3 damage for 2 mana or 4 damage for 4 mana, you know? In a way, because you get to next turn when that creature's frozen, you do that extra ping. I'm lacking in the late game with a little bit right now though, so it feels like I have to get the Silver Knight, even though I'd love to have 4 Frost Bolts. That'd just be delicious. Now the Warlord, will he play nicely with this deck so far? I've got Mirror Image, Elven Knight. I got quite a bit of early drops, yeah. He'll work pretty nicely. Flame Strike. It's always good to have one of these in a deck, in a mage deck. And I need more 3-drops, desperately, so I'll toss that in there. I like Spellbender, but not as much as Sea Giant, especially in a deck right now that's desperately needs late game meat, so Sea Giant. I think curve-wise and card-wise, value-wise, Water Elemental's the right pick here. Over the Lord of the Arena. Not even looking at that Murloc. I get another. Alright, so the Farseer gets dealt with really easily and really quickly often because nobody wants this thing smack in the face over and over. The Patriarch can buy me time for my early game minions, and I'm thinking like, you know, he could protect the Mana Addict, keep the Mana Addict around a little bit longer. I'd say the Silverback is a more valuable choice if you've already got some Mana Worms and stuff like that that you want to keep protected, but yeah, Patriarch is pretty bad value unless you have something to protect, and I don't think I have anything to really important early game to protect, especially since the Jungle Panthers protect themselves. I'm gonna go with the Farseer. He's not an amazing card, but neither is the Patriarch in this deck. Another Sea Giant? Might as well, I guess. Yeah. Weird curve. Not much I could have done about it either. I smoothed the curve when I had the option to. I did my best, and it still ended up. Sometimes that just happens in Arena. All right, Sea Giant. Another one. Because, I mean, Spellbender, is there anything that I want to desperately protect with Spellbender? I don't think so. I don't, like, have the Auctioneer or anything like that. I'm gonna go with the Sea Giant. Here we go. When I come back, I guess I'll just quickly break here and come back with my first round. Stay tuned.